A few seconds.
Well, we're live.
That's nice.
That's that's
Oh,
nice.
you know what we should have? Like wait, I'll dig up like our old our first episode, and then we could sort of compare what we look like now, and let's, check who has more hair after a year later.
Jesus, that's not even fair. I'm already losing at that point. That's not even a comparison.
Look, on today's episode, I think we got some interesting things. So today's title: "Dating a Filipina in the Philippines versus everybody." Is it everybody or everywhere else?
Everywhere else. Jesus. Dating a Filipina in the Philippines versus dating a Filipina everywhere else.
Okay, we'll dig into that. First things first. Then after that, I got Starbucks apologizing. Did you hear about this one?
No.
I gotta catch up. I got a couple of things to catch up with about River Maya also.
Uh-oh, here we go.
And yeah, let's see. Let's get right to it. Ready?
Go ahead.
Two guys from two sides of the world. The Flip Side with Jay and Noel. Catch us live every Wednesdays and Sundays, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Philippines. Now, your hosts, Jay and Noel.
Oh
Nah,
my
come
gosh.
on, so official.
I gotta get this finger practiced pressing that button, man. That was a little
That's
bit of
not
a
so.
delay there before it played in. That intro, that first part caught my attention. Though, like if you look like right in the middle of the screen,
Yeah.
right about here where the yellow star is,
Mm.
there's a video of me going like, it's like what's that?
Y- You're lucky that that's the one that I put. Okay, because I was thinking between that video clip or the one where you're doing this.
Oh, nice. Thank
I
you. Kind
decided,
of
you
you.
know what? Let's spare him the embarrassment.
Kind of you. Kind of you. Okay,
Nope.
so before we talk about our 1 year anniversary, birthday, and everything for this show, I'm dying to find out what you mean about dating a Filipina in the Philippines versus everywhere else.
Versus everywhere else. Well, let's start with the shorter ones because I think this is going to be a bigger and longer discussion.
Which is why I wanted to get right to it because it's going to like be eating up so much time. All the other
So
ones can just be recycled and moved on to the next one.
there's this conversation that keeps popping up, or it's not like an ongoing conversation, but there's this topic that keeps popping up on my Facebook feed and YouTube feed about um, passport bros. At the same time, I'm getting a lot of these
1 year
foreigners
later,
or
we are still talking about passport bros.
right or foreigners dating Filipinas in the Philippines as well as versus dating a Filipina anywhere else really where they live, either in the US, in Europe, whatever. And what's the biggest difference? What's the factor, you know? And one of the biggest question was, is there a difference?
You mean the location?
No, the people, the women, the
Mm.
Filipino women. Is there a difference of a Filipino woman dating her a Filipina in the Philippines or dating a Filipina in California, for example, or in the US?
Like she changes shape or she changes character when she moves to a different country.
Our attitudes, characters, you have to admit, you as a person, as a Filipino in the Philippines, will not be the same person as you are in the US.
Mm.
Most likely,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know,
Okay. Okay.
because women, well, I mean, we all adapt to wherever we live, either by character
Mm.
or lifestyle and whatnot, and it will
Mhm.
change us no matter what. As an example, again, me as a Filipino here in the US, I am the way I am because I grew up here. But I'm
Okay.
sure if I moved back to the Philippines, I'm going to end up having to adapt to the culture in a way, or maybe the lifestyle. But that could be it, though. I know for a fact I'd be like that. But also, I could end up searching the same kind of or similar lifestyle back in the Philippines, which obviously it exists,
Okay. What's
right?
the issue?
Now,
Are the passport bros complaining that the Filipinas aren't what they say they are?
They're not complaining, but there is definitely a significant difference. You know, hold on. For some reason, my volume is just too loud in my ear.
But you're am I understanding you right that that's the issue? Now they're different. They're different when they first meet them, maybe online or like the. Do you mean? Plus, I'm also confused about your the way it's said that it's different when you meet her here or when you're dating her here versus if you're dating her somewhere else.
I mean, it could be. Also, like for example, it doesn't have to be the same person. Obviously, it could be two different Filipinas,
Mm.
two different people, basically. One is
Uh,
dating somebody from the Philippines in the Philippines, or another one
mm,
is dating another Filipino in somewhere else in the world, maybe the U.S. Here in the U.S., for example.
mm,
It's so rare that you're gonna find a Filipina who is the same way in the Philippines, character and attitude wise, as opposed to when they move here. I'm not just saying it's just Filipino, okay? Well,
mm,
generalization when we're dating as men, we're dating Filipinas.
mm,
It's always going to be different in most cases. Is it better dating a Filipina here in the U.S. or dating a Filipina in the Philippines? Who knows, right?
mm,
Um, all my life, I've maybe been with three, four Filipino women. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
Um, I was with two of them for the longest relationships of my life, like over 10 years. And actually, this is the 10th year that I've been with my wife, relationship and wedding, marriage wise. But it's different. I have gone out on an actual date with a Filipina who just
mm,
came from the Philippines here to the U.S. at one point, right? And we both actually know that person. So I went out with her and we dated, and it was just very.
wait,
It was
wait.
it.
We know that person, or you and your wife know that person?
No, you and I know that person. Um,
Oh.
it's like fresh. She was literally fresh off the boat, still carrying the Filipina values or characteristics and whatnot. And then as we date. We went out on a date maybe once or twice, and
Mm,
it was um it was different. You know what I mean? It was still the whole kiligs to the bones and like
mm,
actually like the guys doing all the heavy lifting and whatnot in regards to the date. And then after a few years, I mean, we weren't together at the time at that point, but I did notice and see her around. Like, oh my God, this is not the same person that I went out with. You
mm,
know, completely adapted um, to the culture here in the U.S.
mm. How long did that take?
That was maybe 2 years.
Mm,
We
mm,
dated, and then we were going to the same school. We dated, and then she moved school, and then I ran into her again because we actually lived in the same neighborhood in Lyset Circle,
mm,
and then completely different person. You know what I mean?
mm,
And
mm,
it was like it also brought back that memory was brought back to me by watching all these Filipinos or I mean foreigners explaining like the values of a Filipino woman is completely different, especially when you're dating them in the Philippines versus a Filipina that possibly grew up here or ended up migrating here. A lot of the
mm.
Filipino values are being left in the Philippines because you're extracting a lot of the foreign culture within you.
I'm still confused. I mean, I appreciate the topic and I appreciate where you're going with it, sort of, I think, but I'm trying to appreciate it more in a sense that I'm thinking like you're married and you're happy, you seem to be happy with your wife and it doesn't sound like you're dating. Why are we talking about dating Filipinas in other countries? Like you're not part of the passport bros, but are
I'm
you
not.
like living vicariously through the
No,
passport,
not at
bros.
all. Not at all. I am not vicariously living through all that because my wife and I talked
what's
about that kind of stuff a lot.
what's the concern is what I'm getting at. Like,
There's no concern as curiosity and questions that pops into my head. You know,
what's the curiosity?
the curiosity is it really like that where Filipinas in the Philippines are just much better as opposed to Filipinas being everywhere else in the world? You know what I mean? Will a Filipina carry the same core value as a woman does, the way they're raised in the Philippines?
Jay,
And then when you move to California, for example, are they the same kind of Filipinas? Obviously not, right?
I plead the fifth.
I kind of I kind of noticed that because your girl is right behind you, so you're
No,
probably like
no, 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 not because my girlfriend's behind me,
I
but
don't want to sleep on the couch tonight.
I have like a little trauma response from our little Ryan Agoncillo rant about him. Oh, I forgot my bag.
My
Ah, man, that's what
God.
I wanted to do on this show, pala. I knew
I,
I was forgetting something about my costume today.
hold on.
And I think this will circle back to the topic about
Okay.
what people actually what
Jesus Christ.
what anyone has to say about, like
Right.
what people decide to do on their show, or what people decide to do with their lives if they're Filipina or what. But and it wasn't a bag, by the way. It was a camera. I think I was like trying to look into it closer. Okay,
Mm.
so right, I plead the fifth, but
You plead the fifth.
yeah, what did I say? I plead the fifth,
You plead the fifth. Anyway, anyway.
which is for our uh Filipino kababayans. I think that means, I choose to remain silent because I
Right,
can
right, right.
about the topic. But since this is a
It's just
podcast, maybe I
interesting.
should say a little two centavos about it. Yeah, what go on.
It's just interesting having to hear or watch these foreign men. Actually, some of them were Filipinos as well, but they were
Mm.
kind of raised in a different country.
Are they
Um,
complaining? What's
well, the funny thing is, it's half and half from what I've seen. You know, some people are complaining that, you know what, all these Filipino women that are being praised and whatnot. Yes, it's mainly only in the Philippines. That's basically what they're saying. You
what's
know,
in only in the Philippines?
the women, the kind of women that's being praised by all these foreigners as great Filipino partners and
Oh,
whatnot, because some of
oh,
them are saying, yeah, but a Filipino woman is not in the California or in the U.S. It's not exactly the same kind of Filipina that we're all hearing on this online version of dating and whatnot. You
right,
know,
right. Right. Like kimchi in Korea is going to be better than the kimchi that's made in California.
correct, right, right. So that's basic. That's actually a good analogy on that one. So that's the kind of question that popped into my head. You know, watching all those videos and feeds that are coming up on my YouTube page or Facebook page. So
But
there's actually this one guy. His name is Trevor, African American from. Go ahead.
let me say this. If you're going to rant and rave and say that, oh, kimchi in Korea is better in Korea than it is in California, you realize that kimchi in Korea also tastes better in Korea than if you bring the kimchi all the way to California, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree, 1,000%. But that's a
I'm just
horrible. That part of what you just explained is a horrible analogy or explanation or comparison in regards to Filipino women.
Nah, but what I'm just trying to say, I mean, from that analogy, and that reasoning, it's really just like you can't blame her because she's in her element, she's in her
Right.
environment, and and I guess anybody, not just Filipina, I think anybody that decides to move or even stay with their spouse to a different country,
Hmm. You have to
it
adapt.
is going to adapt or change a little bit. I had
Right.
an ex girl. One of the people that I was dating with. She, she was nanning nene when I met her, and then when she met her when she met her foreigner,
Husband
husband,
or
she
ticket.
turned like she started. I don't know if she's better off now, but she seemed like she was blossoming, like she was in her element. So
Mm,
now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because she's acting like she's living in Melrose Place or 90210 now, that's for the husband maybe to decide. Not That's not none of my business.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's just what I'm thinking. Now, if you meet someone and you like her for the way she is, you also can't either you can't tell or you look forward to seeing what she's going to be like in a different place or involved in this relationship with me because diba? I mean, it reminds me of what they were saying about cameramen, observing the behavior of wild animals in the wild. It's like you're never really going to get how they're going to be like in the wild because you're there.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're in there's a different alien, an element that's introduced to those wild animals are naturally going to be acting differently. So I don't know. Again, plead the fifth, but I'm just trying to say that I can understand the situation, I think.
Right.
And plus also maybe liken to say that I think that Filipinas are very versatile and adaptive, and but not everybody.
Well,
But generally, I mean, that's part of the whole hospitable culture. Like we have our thing, but we're not going to enforce it on you. We're going to figure out a way to work it out together.
right.
That's my
But
my two
I
cents
think my
about being
contention in
Filipino.
that one is I don't see there's a difference. All right. When a Filipino and a Filipina move to a different place or anywhere else, it's always the male that adapts more. I
Okay.
believe that's what I mean. That's what I notice, or that's what I think is what's happening most of the time because it's the male, for the most part, is the one that has to. Well, now that I think about it, there's more female OFWs as opposed to males, right?
Mm,
Is that correct?
I can't say. Not necessarily because there's also a lot of seamen. What were you saying about your foreigner stories? Sorry to interrupt you a while ago,
No, no,
but
no, no, no. It's just like when there was multiple interviews that was on YouTube and Facebook or pages that ran across my page,
yeah,
and
YouTube's not
basically,
real life.
I know, but it's these people, foreign people, saying that okay, there's this one guy. His name was I think Kevin. No, I can't remember the name, but he's from Houston, Texas.
Mm,
He's saying that he's dated a Filipina in the U.S. You
mm,
know, and then he actually, because of her, after they broke up, he decided to visit the Philippines, and then he actually ended up dating a Filipina in the Philippines.
mm,
And he made a good example that you know what, it's completely different. It's not the same. You can't say a Filipina that you dated a Filipina in the Philippines and the Filipina in the U.S. is the same because they're two different characters, two different people, two different backgrounds.
mm,
You know, which I guess it's
mm,
the case now. When a Filipina or a Filipino migrates to a different country,
mm.
do they leave their characteristics behind, or they just not decide not to um, live their culture and mesh it with wherever culture they're going into? Is that what's happening here? Or, I don't know. It's it kind of sucks to hear and watch people say like, "Yeah, I've dated a Filipino." It's not exactly the same way. I
Yeah.
mean, you're gonna find that kind of Filipino that you're thinking of, or you're hearing, or Filipina that you're thinking of, only if you live in the Philippines. Now, are there actual Filipinas all over the world or everywhere else that still maintain that Filipino culture and characteristics within them, even after adapting or migrating to a new place?
Mm.
I don't know. Who's to say?
Does it bother you? Does it
It
affect
doesn't
you?
it doesn't really affect me, but the question did pop up. I am dating a Filipino. I think my wife is the most Filipina person that I've ever dated, you know.
Mm.
But still, I think her difference culturally, since she's in the US now, is more so than her being an actual Filipino. She's definitely a Filipina, but she doesn't have or act like an act. Well, who's to say though? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Maybe the values are different. Her characteristics are different. Her point of view is different because she's already living here. So even though she's a Filipina, it's still a different point of view coming from, yeah, in comparison to Filipinos in the Philippines. I guess I don't know. It's hard to tell. I've never dated anybody in the Philippines. No, I never really dated anybody there, so I don't know how it is. There's no comparison. Is it a Filipina the same way? Is she going to be, if I didn't know my wife now, is she going to be the same kind of Filipina if I met her in the Philippines versus here?
Listen, I can't overgeneralize. Again, I want to be
Yeah.
careful because I don't want to get hate comments again.
Come on.
No, but
Jesus
listen,
Christ.
you know what you're thinking? Maybe you want to get your snow plowing video ready because I was just thinking. I mean, if you want to show people, I was just thinking that what you're talking about, culturally and how she's going to be like this and what it's going to be like that, and is it going to be something to complain about?
Mm,
I don't know if I'm speaking of it from experience here, but I can imagine a Filipina, and then but just the way she takes care of the garbage, for example. Like here, there's so many sort of oppressive cultural norms where it's like maybe we're not sure when and if the garbage man, the basurero, is going to come by during the week. So the
right.
the taking care of your garbage is such a sort of different habit that we have here in the neighborhood, and
Mm,
it's also different on which part of Manila or even the entire Philippines that you live in. It's not like standardized all throughout the country, right? So it really depends on where where she grew up and what the cultural norms are. But
right.
I wanted to point out the garbage cans, let's say outside of your house, right?
Okay.
Like here in the Philippines, like half of the time we're probably thinking, where am I going to put the garbage? Because the aside from the rats, the cats will jump up and like tear open the plastic, and so next thing you know, you have your garbage pile outside on the street. So
Right.
that's something to think about, to contend with. But in your place, you guys got it all sort of systematized in a sense that everybody has practically the same kind of garbage can,
Okay.
because the garbage man is going to come out, let's say every Monday, and it's like on the dot at 7 o'clock. They're going to pick it up, and then they're going to put it on yeah, you know what's going to happen. It's predictable.
Right.
Here, there's a lot of, let's say, unpredictability because you never really know if your garbage can's still going to be outside.
What are we talking about now here? Are we talking about? Go ahead.
I'm talking about that's just throwing the garbage out, right? But I'm thinking like dating habits, just culturally. There's just so
Yeah.
many things that's going on that the not just the Filipina, that any Filipino has to go through,
Right. Right. Right.
that you can't. Parang the way I see it, parang we're sort of in a like a toxic relationship, but we don't really know that we're in a toxic relationship until we start living in another country.
Okay.
Like we
Okay.
have a
Careful.
toxic relate. No, no, no.
Careful, because it's starting to sound like Filipino women are toxic. It's
No, no,
not.
no, 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 no. Just Filipinos in general is what I'm saying. But so
Right. 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 Right.
we're living in a placement. Maybe the word toxic is a little too harsh, but we're living in a environment where we kind of know that it could be better, but we don't really know how to improve it. And then when we do live in another country, let's say where you're at, where you're putting the
Mhm.
garbage outside, ay, pwede palang ganon. Like we realize that the system could be fixed in such a way that it's less stressful to live in that way. Tapos, so yun, so it's like a lot of like, it's like all that toxicity, and I use that with air quotes.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be that stressful pala. Parang we can, and again, this is like, first world problems, like white privilege kind of thing, in a sense na it's like you only realize that because you have enough money to live in a different place, but because you
Right.
don't have a choice, and this is just where we are, and not that's what makes us so resilient, because we parang we're living, let's say, in a what do you call those World War II concentration camps. Can you imagine if you were born and raised in that concentration camp, that kind of
Yeah, bubble.
closed off bubble, that kind of environment, and then you're let out. Let's say you meet
It,
a foreigner boyfriend or whatever,
mm,
and then you realize that, oh, I didn't realize that I can be living in there's a whole different world out here.
right, right, right.
So I guess a lot of that is, lack of education. A lot of that is oppression. A lot of that is cultural. Whatevs. I mean, you can't really blame it. But again, for me, the way I'm trying to describe it really is that it circles back to our Filipino resilience. I'm not trying to talk down about the Filipino and the Filipino culture. I'm just saying that parang sometimes, a lot of times, and me included, we don't know that we're in this like unhealthy environment until you realize like, oh, pwede pala yun.
I think it's because like a lot of these it actually relates this whole thing what we're talking about, the whole dating a certain Filipina in the Philippines or everywhere else versus everywhere else. The character changes because Filipinos are so obsessed with basically the Western culture, the Western lifestyle.
Right. That
You know what I
also.
mean?
That also.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's how a lot of Filipinos, again, this goes to both Filipino and Filipinas, male and females. They try
Mm.
to, I don't know if it's standardized where the Filipino or the Western culture is what is the norm in the Philippines, or they're trying so hard. Your camera went off.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know what happened.
And I don't know if it's just the norm there, Like for example, if you go to Google Trends for the Philippines, okay,
Mm-mm.
it's crazy how most of the trending topics in the Philippines are all Western topics or Western situations. For example, one of the biggest things is
Right.
sports, you know,
Right. Right. Right.
and American entertainment. You go to
Right.
Google Trends right now and find out what's trending. It's either the NBA game last night or some kind of celebrity issue or whatever. You know,
Right.
nothing political or anything like that. I think it's just the lifestyle itself.
Yeah.
You know,
Part of me wants to say, and I don't know if I'm gonna get crap for this, but I think like we're not so like, you know, Filipino kami represent. We're not. It's not that we're not nationalistic, but I think part of it, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I just speak for myself, but maybe
hmm
part of it is like, is our culture something to be proud of? Parang maybe we're not like in your face. Like, I'm Filipino, I'm going to prove myself. Parang we're
right.
more like, I'm Filipino, I'm going to be nice, friendly, and hospitable. I don't want to impose. Our
hmm
culture is generally not like, Filipino kami, makibagay ka. We're,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not hard like that. That's why we're so adaptable. That's why we're so worldly, because we're not like, ganito kami. We're not going to force ourselves, our
I'm
ways,
not
and our culture on you.
okay. Just to the Filipinos out there who might be watching this later on. Okay, I'm Filipino, obviously. Okay, but the question I ask you is: are Filipinos, besides the fact that kind of obsessed with Western culture and Western lifestyle, is it just a case of a lost identity or a not to is it lost identity? I think is what I'm trying to get at. Is it something that maybe there's just a confusion on what really or how Filipinos are identity wise? But I'm not trying to knock on the fact that we're definitely going to go, yes, we're definitely Filipino and proud. Yes, absolutely. I agree. But sometimes it's hard to decipher that because there's so much world influence within the Philippines.
Mm-mm-mm.
I mean, as a Filipino, you have to admit your way of living consists more of Western society, and it's not exactly different. I don't know.
It's weird because hearing you say that, I'm thinking we're also, we can't blame ourselves for being so Western, because it's really also part of our culture. It's not like we're
Right.
not like 100. There's no such thing as like 100% Filipino, because we
Correct.
have so many influences from China, Malaysia, all these other Asian countries,
Spanish,
and
yeah.
Spanish and US. So it's not like we can't really say that it's so pure like Japanese, where we closed or we built up a wall like China to prevent anybody to come in. Now
Right.
we're like, ah, come on over.
It's it's just it's funny that we're talking about this because I was watching a Filipino vlogger that actually used this term that we're talking about. Um, so basically, you know what? We're gonna bring up a quick segment real quick here. It's a brand new segment real quick on the show. This actually relates to what we're talking about.
The flip side with Jay and Noel Millennial. Word of the day.
So
We are words on the internet that were frequently used by, or at least mostly understood by, millennials or Gen Zs.
correct.
And this is
Correct.
our attempt to try to understand what's going on.
Yes, real quick. I know we're jumping into what we were talking about, but it definitely relates. Okay. I was
What
watching
word
a
is it?
video the other day, and the word of the day is bet.
Ha,
Bet. Bet.
right.
Okay. My kids say this all the time. I've known what it means, through them, but it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'm sorry. So, per millennial meanings, when the term or the word bet means
Mm.
okay, or yeah, sure, oh, that's awesome, okay. It's basically another word for confirmation,
Mm.
and it's often used to agree with someone. For example, if someone asks, can we go to the pool tomorrow afternoon, the person or you would reply, bet. What?
Can I drink this? Can I drink my coffee now?
Go ahead. Bet. I don't understand. It to me. It just there's the I don't get it. It just sounds ridiculous to me. I think that's what's bothering me in regards to it because it sounds ridiculous.
Here's my formal definition. Bet is used when you're in agreement with something. If someone makes plans, you say bet. That means you are confirming said plan.
It's
How does
another
that segue to what we were talking about a while ago, about Filipinos' obsession with the Western culture?
Western culture, right? So I was actually watching a vlogger. I'm not gonna name that vlogger. It's somebody that I definitely watch, and he was like, there's a person that he was talking. He's like, oh, ano, doon ba tayo pupunta mamaya? Or dadaan ba tayo dun sa iskinintang yon? And then he goes, bet. Oh.
Mm. Mm.
I wanted to take my phone and throw it against the wall.
The question is, how did you feel when I sent you that message the other day? When you were asking me something, or
Yeah.
like, upload this episode or what, and I say bet.
Let me put it to you this way. I almost had another, just like you, a very expensive paperweight in front of me. Almost. And I'm like thinking to myself, stop it. You're old. Okay.
It sounds so pretentious, though, right?
It sounds really douchey.
When I was typing it, this is the remote control for the TV. When I was typing it, I was like, okay. And then instead of just sending it, I said, what would be a weird thing to say? And I was like, what do the millennials say again? Oh, bet. Okay.
First thing that popped into my head, really? That's literally what first thing that popped into my head.
That's the problem with our generation. If we try to speak like that, it makes us look so bad.
Yeah. Anyway.
Like, no, 'cause like back in the days, if my parents said something that was like, around my generation, like, oh, awesome, so cool, like something that the 70s and 60s won't say. They say, that's so awesome, like surfer kind of
Right
language.
on, bro.
Right on, bro. And then you'd hear, if I hear my dad say that, I would, or an uncle say that, it's like, it's a cool uncle. He's trying to be, nakikibagay. Now
Yeah,
it's like,
but that makes sense though, because we're actually expressing it in what the actual word meaning is.
if you see that, so that's the problem with the millennial word of the days now, is that they're actually not the same meaning as what
No,
we're
it's
used to.
not. Yes, exactly. I'm sorry, but bet? No. Bet? You can't use the word bet and say, oh, bet. Bet. Let me have your phone number. Bet. Stop. Stop. Bet does not mean okay. It's not a term or word for confirmation or affirmation or whatever. It means you're placing a bet, blackjack or pusoy. That's what that is.
So I guess with the word of the day, use it or lose it.
Lose it.
The flip side with Jay.
Hold on, I'm
The
playing it.
flip side with Jay and Noel Millennial. Word of the day.
Anyway,
Okay.
so that kind of ties into Filipinos adapting and being obsessed with the Western lifestyle. I guess it was just weird. I've literally been watching this vlogger for quite a while now, for at least over a year, and having hear him say that, I wanted to throw up. To be
For the
honest with
first
you.
time? For the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time?
Yeah, I've never heard him say
Oh.
anything like that. He just
Yeah,
said it
yeah.
out of nowhere. This was just last night.
So let's wrap up this whole idea about dating Filipinas
Yeah.
in the Philippines or the Western world. What's your takeaway on it,
My
or
my
what's the
take on
whole?
this, guys, if you're gonna talk about dating a Filipina, maybe Filipino or in the Philippines or Filipina in the US, obviously it's not gonna be the same. Because they're two different kind of people.
Mm,
A
mm, mm.
person, male or female, will always, always, always adapt to their environment. You could bring a Filipina in the Philippines. Well, that's a question on its own. Because you could bring a Filipina or Filipino in the Philippines and somewhere else in the world, they will adapt. But I'm pretty sure that a Filipina from California moving to the
Mm.
Philippines might not adapt the same way.
Is there some kind of like a complaint that like the consistency of the product is not the same? Like what's the what's the general consensus about that?
I think the value of the product is not the same. They don't value it the same way.
And
They,
that's what the passport bros are complaining
I,
about.
I, I think they're valuing Filipina in the Philippines at a higher value as opposed to a Filipina who's living in Florida or London.
Oh, is
I
it like
think.
so the Filipinas in the Western countries are complaining? Are
No,
they
no, 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 no.
complaining?
They're not complaining. The men are saying
The,
that it's not the same kind of Filipina. I don't want to value or monetize the what I'm trying to say, but basically, like the value of the women in the Philippines are at a higher stake as opposed to Filipinas or the value of
right.
Filipino women
Yeah.
elsewhere.
You do realize that there are Filipinas that uh, complain about this. I would never date a foreigner. You know that they don't like the idea of dating a foreigner because of the whole culture. There's that whole cultural difference,
Hmm.
but there's also the whole idea of um, that there's this stigma along the lines of the foreigner probably looks down on the Filipina, like expects her to be. I mean, what I'm saying is, if they're complaining about it like that, such an elementary kind of problem, I think, in the sense that, like, of course, you're not going to get the same thing everywhere. I mean, it's the small mindedness of that foreigner complaining about it. I think.
Could be. It definitely could be, but I think for the most part, though, foreigners do find Filipino women at a higher standard. I think for the most part.
Is that a good thing?
Why wouldn't it be?
That's a positive thing, right?
Maybe you should ask your girlfriend that. You know what I mean?
No, because it sort of ties around to the foreigner complaining about Filipinas being different there to being here. It's kind of like that comment that we got the other day about, like, who are you guys to be complaining about Ryan Agoncillo holding a bag while he's like he's while he's talking to River Maya on the show. It's like, sino kayo? Kayo ba?
Whatever. I mean, that
Is that,
comment kind of annoyed me. I'm like, are we
yeah,
not entitled or allowed to have our own opinion?
no, but that's what the whole podcast is about, right? Like
Right.
talking about opinions,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So so it's like
So,
that's are we segueing into a different topic now about Ryan Agoncillo? I wanted to share. I don't think I have it prepared, but let me see if I can. I don't have it on my
mm, mm.
screen here, but I wanted to share it with you. Yeah, I
Well,
took some screenshots.
yeah,
Now I don't
yeah.
know where it is.
It's just quite annoying that we get. I mean, it's normal. That comment was normal. Definitely, it was definitely normal. You know, um, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not used to getting some kind of comments in regards to stuff. Anyway, in regards to our show, maybe that's just the case.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Let's segue to something like then. If you don't mind, this one
Yeah.
will be
Go
real
ahead.
quick. If I could just figure out how to present it. Um, hold on. So I've been catching up on the whole River Maya reunion kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and hold on a second. If I could open this one,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to open. Can you see that? Did it get bigger? No.
Yeah. I saw. I can see it.
Yeah, trying to make it a little bigger. But it's just it reminded me of Ryan Agoncillo's our 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 little comment about him holding the bag on the interview. These guys are being interviewed. This is River Maya, right? They're being interviewed about their reunion concert, and one of the guys on the far right, if you can see, is also wearing a bag. It's just a regular thing here in the Philippines, but that's the whole point of the flip side that we're talking about. That's a normal thing for us here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's practical or whatever. In
I mean,
fact,
I
like
do
while
it.
we're
Don't get me wrong. I do it too. I just don't. I can't do it all the time. That's my only thing, because it's a little inconvenient for me. I sent most of my stuff to my siblings in the
right.
Philippines, but I still have my bags hanging right there.
No, don't defend yourself, man. That's the whole point. What I'm saying is, it might be normal for us here and we don't make a big deal out of it, and it's normal for you to make fun of it there because it's funny that we're seeing something like that on a TV show. But that's the whole point of the podcast in a sense that, we're talking about two different perspectives. We're both Filipino. We're both Filipino, but having two totally different experiences because you
Teka,
live there. And
yung cellphone ko baka mawala.
yeah, hindi na bali yung cellphone. Ang importante yung barya. May barya ba yan? Yun.
Ah, easy access ba yun? Kaya ganun, wala akong barya.
Exactly. I'm trying to look for that screenshot of when we were. I know I took a picture of it.
Right.
I don't know where I put it though.
Yeah, it's a bit uncomfortable for me, to be honest with you. Even
To be wearing it because you're sitting down. It's
what?
better if you are because you're sitting down. It's better if you're standing up. It's more convenient.
Yeah, I mean, I have one. It's like a utility belt that I use all the time, just because it's yeah, that one right there. Okay.
Yeah. 'Di ba? Ay nako.
I'm
Oh,
not saying I just
Tambo.
didn't know what it was, and it like normal people, I kind of made fun of it a little bit.
Yeah. But I don't think it's something to worry about. But
Yeah, no.
I think what the comment was more alarming was when, someone says something like, "Bakit kayo ba? Sino ba kayo?"
I know. Mga
It's like,
mga
oh,
chong, chill lang. We're trying to get out there. Kayo naman pinapahirapan niyo eh. Ba't naman
that's what
ganun?
we're actually but that's the thing. Are we doing a bad thing by making comments about other people because we're trying to encourage people to make different opinions from
Right.
two different sides of the world being as Filipinos or what?
Exactly. Also, I didn't know that's a camera. That looks like a camera now.
But right
Because
in the moment we were joking
yeah,
at the idea that he's carrying a bag.
right. Because I didn't zoom in. I mean, who would think to zoom in and take the time to zoom in? I didn't. I just looked at it and it looked like a bag. That's it.
But that's the whole idea of discourse, right? Like you're not going to agree with everybody else.
Right.
And the whole idea is not whether the person is right or wrong, whether I agree with you about passport bros or not. I think the whole idea is just to like sort of poke at each other, like spotting lang.
Uh-oh.
And then
Uh-oh.
it's all good and fun at the end of the day. It's like at the end of the day, I don't care if you go and use your passport to find girls or not. That's your business. So at the end of the day, I don't care if he's carrying a bag or maybe he's carrying a bag and a camera. Like, who
Right.
cares?
Because there's two straps there. I do see that.
But the whole idea of like making fun of the idea that, you know, meron pa siyang gagawin mamaya or mamamasada siya.
Mm.
That's the whole fun of that's why it's a podcast, right? That's why we're like we have microphones because we're talking and listening to each other's thoughts and opinions.
Right, right. So let me show a couple of things here real quick, if I may. Okay, this is like another first world problem type of thing. So it's been snowing here over the weekend, and we actually got a lot of snow, like a
Mm.
lot. So this is me early in the morning, outside in the back, shoveling my driveway. You know,
Mm-mm.
you there's no sound to that's any of importance whatsoever, so it's nothing to worry about. But shoveling a driveway is a pain in the ass. Okay. It's fun to see the snow fall, yada, 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 until you have to shovel it. Okay. Whatever. So, any normal person in my neighborhood in that day is spending the time in the morning to shovel, clean things up, yada, yada, yada.
Mm.
Only to have a stupid snowplow run through your neighborhood again and just block you in, basically. After shoveling your driveway, the stupid truck just passes by and pushes everything to the side again, so I'm blocked in and my car can't go out again. It's annoying. It's a
Oh.
pain in the ass. So what ends up happening is a person
wait.
and
Hold on. He just goes one way, piles it up on
yes,
your side of the street, but he doesn't go back.
no, he doesn't. That's what I'm saying. So we'd have to go out again after shoveling earlier to even
Uh-uh.
dig more snow out. And on top of that, we're running out of room where to put the snow because a stupid truck pushes it back on your driveway.
Uh,
So I gotta pick it up from there and lift it and bring it to the side and whatnot because I can't throw it in the middle of the road again because cars won't be able to go through.
uh, 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 uh.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I don't understand. And then on top of that, another first world issue here. I gotta go walk to the front of the house because I can't walk inside the house with dirty clothes and wet shoes to shovel the
Mm.
front. We got a lot of snow this year. A lot of snow so far. Why is he not playing? I don't know why it's not playing. I don't know.
What
It's
are we
not
looking
playing.
at here?
No,
What are
it's
we
just
looking at
me.
here?
I had to walk all the way around the house to the front of the house
Uh,
and shovel the walkway.
look at that. A Filipino shoveling snow on his driveway.
Yeah, first world problems.
But,
First,
like I said, some of us Filipinos wish that we had the same problems that you had.
man,
We could
that's
just be
crazy.
thankful for where we're at. Is I
Yes,
guess what we want to
absolutely,
say
definitely
here.
grateful.
Quick 30 seconds commercial here on my catching up with the River Maya reunion concert. There was a
Mhm.
quick flashback back in the days. Remember, I was saying that uh, Bamboo would sing without any shoes on in one of the concerts, one of the house parties that they were singing at one time.
Mhm.
This one, I think this is on It Bulaga. I'm not sure which noontime show this is, but there he's wearing a hoodie and that's
Sunglasses.
him singing on a. This was back in the early '90s. Just to give you an idea on how
Nice.
they dress up on the
Right, right,
show.
right,
I mean, that's
right.
part of the character or what. So
Absolutely.
there we are laughing at their people's choices on whatever it is that they want to wear on a noontime show. Um, Is there anything else that you wanted to
Well,
talk
really
about?
quick, in the beginning of the show, you had dived or delved into the fact that it's a little happy birthday for us.
Right.
Right. Today literally marks 1 year of the flip side with Jay Noel. 1 year, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine? I mean, it's just, it's been 1 year. It's been 1 year, and it has kind of been.
Uh-oh.
Well, what happened? What was that?
Some video started playing. What were you saying? I'm trying
No,
to.
it's been a surprising year for me, and it's a lot of learning. I'll tell you that much. You know what I mean?
A lot of technical learning.
A lot of technical learning, and it's I don't know sometimes if it's a good thing or a bad thing, you know.
Mm.
But nonetheless, it has been an exciting year in regards to the show, and I wanted to um if I could share just a quick uh clip in regards to our very very first show. Can I do that?
Oh, wow. You made something?
No, I didn't make something, but this is like our old video, our initial show, basically.
Oh, wow.
Can you hear anything or no?
No, no, no,
New
nothing.
episodes uploaded on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify every week on
Jesus.
Wednesday and Saturday. Now,
Just-
here's your host, Jason and Noel. That's what I said, you nincompoop.
Boom! I'm recording. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm recording, dude. Did you see? Did something come up? I mean, it's saying recording right
No.
now.
nothing.
Did you
Nothing.
Yeah, it says that I'm recording right now. So talk about an ick factor.
Okay.
I was just wearing that shirt the other
So
day.
we have a recording inception going
I mean, you gotta
Stop,
admit that.
stop. I don't want
What?
to listen to myself talking.
It's just a big difference, but it's such a huge difference from like this was the very very first episode, and the funny thing is, it's kind of obvious that we both gained weight.
Did we?
It looks like it.
I don't notice. Oh, I want to share something also.
Yeah,
This
go ahead.
When we're still playing with our backgrounds.
Backgrounds. Oh my god.
Listen, I don't want to dismiss the whole birthday thing. We can talk about this again on the next episode, but I want to mention about Starbucks. I think we should because this is still sort of a hot topic the past couple of days. I was actually in Starbucks when I first heard about this.
Okay.
Um, oh gosh, how do I share this screen? There's this
You
story.
gotta take that
Appar-
screen out first. There you go.
Oh, there it is. So apparently, and I think this is only for one. If I'm not mistaken, this is only for one store. One store. Or one branch. Starbucks store for signage limiting. So basically, I'm curious about what you think about this because we were talking about tipping here in the Philippines and that kind of thing, right?
Right.
So not to complain about Starbucks specifically, like in general for restaurants, I think there's seniors. So there's a 20%. There's I think a 20% discount for seniors here in the Philippines. You're aware of that, right? Do you guys have anything like that going on there?
20%.
I think so.
That's huge.
She's sleeping. Basta there's a discount for seniors, right? And naturally, being Filipino, uh, uh, some of us are taking advantage of that in the sense that I'm a senior citizen. I'll order something for myself, and then my inaanak wants something or my kid wants something. I'll get something for the senior using my card. So it's not actually going to. So that kind of, I guess, blew out of proportion. And one of the Starbucks stores probably decided to say, they came up with a sign saying, like, for senior citizens, you guys are allowed to only get one when you guys purchase. Okay. Probably butchering the way that it's being said.
Where was that?
Somewhere here in Manila. I can't really say which exact store. But the whole idea is, I guess that's the problem that they were trying to mitigate, is the whole idea that some senior citizens are taking advantage of the fact that they actually have this card. They get a discount, a pretty big discount, and instead of just paying for themselves, they're paying for the whole barangay or the whole family. Now, I wanted to hear what
Right.
your take was on that. Initially, just from that, what are you thinking? We don't really have a lot of time. We can continue this on the next episode. But at the bottom line, before I hear what you say, at the end of the day, they apologized. They said, "Oops, sounds like we made a mistake, and we'll fix that." But I'll leave it at that first. Let you say something.
It sucks, to be honest with you. Here, that's something that's being frowned upon extremely. Where senior citizens get special treatments and whatnot. They're not frowning about that. They're frowning about some senior citizens taking advantage of the situation and their perks, basically. Um,
Hmm.
is that something that's being monitored or whatnot here? Yes, a lot of, like, for example, if you go to a restaurant, they got this thing called early bird special or senior citizens rates, and
Hmm.
if it's me and five people and three of us are senior citizens, for example, they know to charge us senior rates automatically. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or most of the time, there's like a card that's being used. I don't know. But am I surprised at something like that happening in the Philippines? Unfortunately, I'm not. Because experience wise, I've heard and seen too many Filipinos take advantage of certain things,
Yeah.
you know, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But for Starbucks to have to apologize for that, I think they just did it wrong. They could have just said, you know what, you need to have your card or whatnot available as soon as you order, as opposed to saying
Mm.
limit yourself. You know what I mean? It could have worded. They could have handled it differently
Yeah.
and started
That's-
wording it that way.
Ako naman, sabihin na natin, sige, there's like a loophole in the law or
Oh,
there's a loophole in the terms and conditions of the card or whatever. But at the same
right.
time, it's like, this is where this is a question, not a statement. But like, where do you really draw the line, diba? Like between your privileges and then like extending it to someone else. Because I can also argue and say that I'm buying it. I'm using my card to buy it, and
Right.
then I'm giving it to my inaanak or my friend
Right.
that's not a senior citizen. Does that am I breaking the law because I'm still buying it off of my card?
Preferably, do something like that, but don't eat it on location. Take it to go or something, or go out.
I think this is where the technical part is. It's for their personal use.
Right.
So if I'm going to buy something and I'm going to give it to somebody else, then that's not my personal use.
Right. It's the same to say for employee discount. You know what I mean? It's the
Mm.
same way. How do you really monitor that? How do you police that, so to speak?
Oh.
Maybe it boils down to just individual person. You know.
But I think it's one of those things na just because you can do it. Kumbaga, I don't know if the word is delicadeza, pero it's, di ba, parang mahiya ka naman. But
mm,
at the same time, like, who am I to say? I'll do that. I'm such a hypocrite saying that because if my grandmother was here, it's like, Granny, can you buy me? Let's use your discount card.
yeah. See, that's the hard part because we've all taken advantage of it one way or the other.
Mm.
Does it make it right? No. Does it make it wrong? Not necessarily. So where's the gray line there? I mean, I think
I
you said
remember
that yourselves.
I remember arguing with Tin about this though. It's like, how was the apology like? Because I remember there I was reading like somewhere down at the bottom of this article that I was looking at. I'm not sure if this is here that the lawmaker was saying something like it's not enough. The apology is not enough. Here, Albay Representative Joey Salceda, chair of the House Committee on the called on Starbucks to not only own up to their mistake but also consider doing a one free drink and so kumbaga wag ka lang mag-sorry. You give like a free
No.
room or a free
No.
croissant.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that's where just greed comes into effect. Why? In this
It says,
particular case, it's not called for anymore. An apology is enough in this particular case.
look what it says. Sorry is not enough. You know that Filipinos are just forgiving, but what I want from you is an exemplary action from you that shows you are really repentant over what you did.
That's stupid.
Like
Then you should ask the same thing of people to not take advantage of the system. I'm sorry.
yeah.
You know, You can't ask for something like that because that's just one sided right there. Then you got to ask those people and reprimand that person for taking advantage of certain situations as well.
Oh, here, let's wrap it up with this one. This is also kasi what they're trying to you know, address is that people are abusing this
Yeah,
privilege. It's for
right,
senior
exactly.
citizens.
Right.
And just to note here, under RA 9994, any person who refuses to honor the senior citizen card may suffer. So there's a penalty, blah blah blah. But I think there's also a penalty, if I'm not mistaken, if it's mentioned here in the that if you take advantage of the senior citizen card, the opposite of that, and you are not a senior citizen. I can't help but think of parking spots here in the Philippines,
Right.
not senior citizen, not PWD, but people just want to park there because
Right. Right.
anyway. But
If you look at
you know,
the
there,
two paragraphs down, any person found to have abused such privilege may be
mm,
imprisoned for as long as 6 months and a fine up to 100,000 pesos. That's a bit
that's the thing.
excessive.
So there is actually a law already, preventing both sides from taking advantage, but
Right.
it's about like do we actually take advantage of that law? Or I mean, do we actually enforce that law?
Hmm. I
Diba?
mean,
So
there's no way to enforce something like yes, you can have something like that, but that's like saying, okay, follow the traffic rules. Really? How many people really follow the traffic rules? There's so many people that break it. Are they being policed? No. Fix
mm,
that issue first before this. I think that's a bigger issue than this. You know what I mean? It's a
and I
bit too
think we'll
much.
wrap it up there.
Yeah, it's a bit excessive, a bit too much. I think that Starbucks issuing an apology like that is enough for the whoever that representative they're asking for a free drink and a free really. You're gonna reprimand
Mm.
it and have them lose that business. That's gonna come out from that franchise's pocket and business. You know.
So they get 20% off already. So that's 20% no earnings. And you give a free croissant.
Yeah, and a free coffee.
No,
Come
but
on.
no, but in fairness, back when my parents were working in the airline, if the airline is if the flight is canceled or delayed, or
Hmm.
there's something going on that screws up your entire schedule. I don't know if they still do it now, but back in the days, they'll book you they'll book the entire flight, a whole
Correct.
hotel.
Yeah, that still happens up to now. It all depends. Not every place does that, to be honest with you, but it still happens. Now, that particular case, it's understandable because they're not booking all these hotels for everybody else. It's literally for the passengers of that flight only.
Mm-mm.
Now, if this representative is asking to give a free coffee and croissant to whoever it was affected, then yeah, that's fine. But it sounds like everybody else for a certain period of time. That's a lot of loss. That's too much. You know.
Yeah, yun nga. So we take advantage. But what comes to mind, and I'll end it my point with this, is like just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
Yun lang.
yun lang. Anyway, um, anything else you want to add on? Oh, you know what? Real quick, actually, if I may, this kind of I know we're out of time, but I just wanted to point this out real quick. So, the Philippines Department of Education is starting to talk back or bring the talks back about switching the old school calendar year to Philippine version before.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I think they even took out like senior year high schooler. Basta they're making a lot of changes with school. What did you
So
have
how
in
long
mind
has
about
it
that?
been? So right now there's during the school year, but the summer time for school in the Philippines now is between June and August. Is that right?
I don't remember. I think so. Yeah, but it's the same. I think with the U.S. now.
How long has it been like that? I didn't really know about that.
About 5 years, maybe
Hmm.
three,
I thought
four,
it was kind
five
of weird
years.
that they did that because isn't that the rainy season in the Philippines?
Yeah, I'm not really caught up with that issue. What what what
Yeah.
what did you have in mind about it?
Yeah, it was just it just brought up a I mean, I was just wondering about it because I never knew that the Philippines were following the same
Oh,
calendar school year
yeah,
as here in the US. Again,
yeah,
ties into Filipinos' obsession with Western culture.
right. Yeah, I remember when I moved there, I had like 1 week of summer vacation, then I had to start school already. And then when I moved back, it was baliktad. They already started school.
Mm,
They already started school, and I was just trying to catch up. One
Right,
last thing
right.
before we go, there was another copyright because you and I we were having a copyright strike because of the last episode that we had about River Maya playing their music. There was
Right.
a copyright strike given to one of the guys, one of the former members of River Maya. I
Mm.
don't know if we'll talk about this next episode, but I think it's an interesting legal sort of back and forth where the performer himself, Perf de Castro, was playing a solo section for one of the songs that they did 214. And
Uh-huh.
then Rico Blanco, the writer of the song, lead lead of River Maya, gave him on his YouTube channel like a copyright strike for performing that song that River Maya or Rico Blanco owns. But it just so happens that it was Perf that actually performed the actual solo on the album. Get it?
Yeah.
Such
That's kind
a
of, but what was that just
circ-
like a ding on it or what? I mean, did they do that on purpose?
I don't know. I didn't really dig enough deeper into it, but I was just
Yeah.
thinking, let's talk about that on the next episode. Let's
Yeah.
say it's just one of those legal battle things that are all sort of rising up now that they have this reunion concert in the works on February. And
Well, because you know why? Everybody wants to get their fair share.
yeah,
That's
but
it. I think that's it. Everybody wants to get paid.
pero yun, this one I brought this up because it reminded me of just because you can. I mean, I think my opinion, just because Rico Blanco can give Perf a copyright strike because it's his song
Hmm.
that Perf just happened to perform, doesn't mean that you should give him a copyright strike. I mean, come on, give him a break, right? He was the one
Right.
that performed
Right.
it. It's your
Right.
song, but you and there was a guy that was saying like, look at Rico Blanco perform this Perf de Castro solo, and then you compare the two guys performing the same solo, and he's saying who did it better.
Ha.
So it was like it's just one of those
Yeah.
drama, boy band drama. But it's funny.
All right,
Whatever.
guys. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. Anything else you want to add on?
I'm good, man. Thank you.
Listen, to all those comments out there, thank you very much. I think we're caught up on all the comments. Thank you for watching and supporting us. Please like and subscribe. We truly appreciate it. We're growing. 1 year. Happy birthday. Congratulations. You know what I mean?
Who
Anyway,
would have thought?
I know, right? And then we'll catch you on the next episode. Again, that would be Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. I'm sorry, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7:30 p.m. Philippine time.
And
Again,
if someone comments, bakit? Bakit? Paki mo. Kayo ba? Sagot ko, kami nga.
coming out. All right, guys. Well, thank you. This is The Flip Side with Jay and Noel. My name is Jay,
Name's Noel.
and we'll catch you guys later.
On the flip side.
Peace out.
Catch us in the next episode, Wednesday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Philippines. This is the